pleasant good Friday afternoon to all of you here today. It is now time for the Scott Manning YouTube Sports Kickoff Show. We are going to kick off the weekend in the sports world here today. We have a lot to talk about here. I got some baseball action. We got 3 big series in the world of Major League Baseball that I want to get to. It's going to be a great day. We're going to have a great show. I'm going to talk about the NFL draft. I got a few things I want to say. And I'm also going to talk about Aaron Rodgers and why he's very bearish on the Green Bay Packers at this moment. Welcome to the show, everybody. My name is Scott Manning. I am so glad to have you guys here with me on this beautiful Friday afternoon. We have a lot to talk about. We have a lot to digest. I'm just going to dive right into the show. We are going to get started, and it's going to be a great weekend coming up, and it's going to be a wonderful show. So sit back, relax, and enjoy, and let's get right to it. We have 3 huge series, actually 3 big series in the world of Major League Baseball. The first series I'm going to be talking about is a 4-game set between the Milwaukee Brewers and the Los Angeles Dodgers. Excuse me. Right now, the Dodgers are in the driver's seat. Right now, let me rephrase that. The Dodgers are now a half game back in the National League West behind the San Francisco Giants. Last night, in last night's ball game, the Brewers beat the Dodgers 2-1. Travis Shaw had the 2-run home run that gave the win to the Brew Crew. Eric Lauer got the win. He pitched 5 solid innings, gave up 4 hits, 2 walks, and struck out 3. Jacob Hatter, he pitched 1 solid inning, gave up an earned run, but he struck out 2, and he gets the save. Trevor Bauer last night for the Dodgers. He got the loss. He pitched 8 solid innings, gave up 4 hits, 2 earned runs, the home run that gave the Brewers the win, and he struck out 6. That was last night. So what's going to happen today? There are 2 pitchers that are going to be starting, but I'm only going to be able to release one name. For the Milwaukee Brewers, Freddie Peralta is going to the mound today with a 2-0 record with a 2.45 ERA and 38 strikeouts on the season. The Los Angeles Dodgers have decided to keep this a mystery. The Dodgers have decided to keep their starter a mystery, which kind of would worry me a little bit. And I'm going to tell you right now, that's what I think the Brewers are thinking right now. But this is what I would be thinking at this moment. The Dodgers keeping their starter a mystery for tonight's game is kind of a surprise to me. Are they going to send Clayton Kershaw? Are they going to send him? I think the Dodgers want to sleep on who they're going to send to the hill tonight against Peralta. He's had a great season. But the Saturday matchup I find interesting. Brandon Woodruff, a 2-0 record with a 1.55 ERA and 34 Ks on the season. Woodruff is a great pitcher. He can get the job done, believe me. And the Dodgers are going to be sending Dustin May to the hill on Saturday with a 1-1 record with a 2.53 ERA and 32 strikeouts on the season. The last time we saw Dustin May was last Sunday night on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball. He had a 10 strikeout performance, all for naught, thanks to the Dodger bats not being able to get the job done. And I'm not going to talk about that game any further. Here's the deal. Dustin May is a fantastic pitcher. He showed it last Sunday night. He showed me a lot. Brandon Woodruff, I love to see him get a big win. With a 2-0 record, 1.55 ERA. This is going to be interesting. This is an interesting matchup. The Saturday matchup is a good one. I like it. The Sunday matchup between the Brewers and the Dodgers is going to be for the Milwaukee Brewers. Corbin Burns is going to the hill. He has a 2-2 record with a 1.53 ERA. And he has 49 Ks on the season. And for the Los Angeles Dodgers, Julio Urias, a 3-0 record with a 3.23 ERA and 32 Ks on this season. The Sunday matchup is going to be a very interesting one. And I'm going to come right out and say it. I love that matchup for so many reasons. And the truth is this. If the Brewers take 3 out of 4 from the Dodgers, the Dodgers are going to be in a world of hurt. But I'm not slept on the National League Central yet. I've not forgot about the Brewers either. They got a 2-game lead over the St. Louis Cardinals in the NL Central. If the Dodgers can take 3 out of 4 and the Cardinals can win their series against the Pirates, the National League Central is going to really get tight. But with the San Francisco Giants leading the National League West, and right now the West is getting a little bit crowded. You got the Giants, the Dodgers, the Padres in a 3-team horse race right now. And the Arizona Diamondbacks, they're getting better. There's a lot of things to think about this weekend. So this series means a lot. This is a huge one. And that's the truth of the matter. If the Dodgers can come back and take the next 3, they'll be in much better shape. But if the Brewers get a sweep or take 3 out of 4, it's going to be a long road back for the Los Angeles Dodgers in the National League West. And the West is competitive. And the Dodgers now realize they have some competition. And I think everybody out on the West Coast is pretty happy about that at this moment. Okay, let's move on. It's talking about the National League West. We got the San Francisco Giants facing the San Diego Padres in a big 3-game set this weekend. This is going to be fun. The Dodgers are leading right now. The Giants are leading the West by a half game. The Padres, they're a couple of games back, but they are not down and out by any stretch of the meaning. And think about this. I love and some of these pitching matchups I find very interesting. I like most of them. Tonight is a big one. How do you start a 3-game set? You got a good pitching matchup. Logan Webb, he has a 1-1 for let me back up. The San Francisco Giants are going to be sending Logan Webb to the mound tonight. He has a 1-1 record with a 4.03 ERA and 24 Ks on the season. And the San Diego Padres are sending tonight Yu Darvish. He's 2-1 with a 2.27 ERA and 37 strikeouts on the season. Don't sleep on Darvish, people. That's all I can say. The Saturday matchup. The San Francisco Giants are sending Anthony Descalzi. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. My apologies there. He has a 2-0 record with a 1.50 ERA and 30 strikeouts on the season. And for the San Diego Padres, the Padres are sending Blake Snell to the mound. He has yet to pick up a win this season, but he does have a 3.92 ERA and 31 Ks on this season. That matchup I kind of find, if you know what I mean. Then the Sunday afternoon matchup. The San Francisco Giants are sending Kevin Gausman to the mound. He has a 2-0 record with a 2.14 ERA and 34 Ks on this season. And who are the San Diego Padres sending to the mound on Sunday? Joe Musgrove. A 2-2 record with a 1.24 ERA and 41 Ks on this season. Last time we saw Musgrove, he had an iffy pitching performance against the Dodgers. That's the last time I saw him, I should say. But what about the bats? What about the hitting for San Francisco and San Diego? Let's think about this for a second. The San Francisco Giants, they got some really strong bats. Anthony Slater. Actually, I should say Austin Slater, my apologies. Can't read my own handwriting sometimes. It happens. Austin Slater, what can you say? A 227 batting average and an OBP of 310? How in the world are the Giants in first place at that? Buster Posey, he has a 351 batting average, 5 home runs, 20 hits on the season. That's one of the main reasons why the Giants are in first place. Evan Longoria, he's hitting 311 and he has 12 RBIs. Those are the two main reasons why the Giants find themselves in first place in the National League West. But they've got some very, very stiff competition this time. For the San Diego Padres, Eric Hosmer, he had a couple of big home runs against the Dodgers last weekend. He has a 299 batting average with an OBP of 361. He has 29 hits, 16 RBIs on this season. Fernando Tatis Jr., he's getting much better. He has a 262 batting average, 7 home runs, and 11 RBIs. And Manny Machado. Right now, Machado is hitting 250, 3 home runs, 14 RBIs. It doesn't sound like much, but it's a lot. And think about this. With Tatis Jr., I would not be surprised if there's a lot of pitchers that are going to be scared to pitch to him. And let's think about this for a minute. That's what a lot of opposing pitchers right now in this country are thinking if they would have to face Tatis Jr. Because think about it. Tatis Jr. was a beast against the Dodgers last weekend. 5 home runs, 2 off of Kershaw. I've not forgotten about that. And I don't think anybody else has either. San Francisco and San Diego, that is going to be a fun series. Northern California versus Southern California. That's going to be fun to watch. All right. Let's move on. If you have any comments you want to leave, let me know. Drop me a line. I'll be happy to. I'll take any comments if you want to watch. If you're watching my show today, just want to let you know. Leave your comments. Leave your comments. I got a lot in the comments section. I got a lot of time. I'm planning on being here for about the next half hour or so. All right. Let's move on. The New York Mets versus the Philadelphia Phillies. This is our East Coast matchup. And right now, I'm just going to come right out and say it. The NL East is so tight, the entire division is separated by 1 game. We have the Braves, the Phillies, the Mets, all tied atop of the division. The Washington Nationals are dead last, but they're only a game behind. Is it that the NL East is competitive, or is the NL East a nightmare? It's a little bit of both, but understand this. We have a big series between the Mets and the Phillies, and it starts tonight. Tonight's matchup between the Mets and the Phillies is very simple. Marcus Stroman, for the New York Mets, Marcus Stroman gets the start tonight. He has a 3-1 record with a 2.25 ERA. Now, grant you only 15 Ks on this season. This is going to be very interesting. And for the Philadelphia Phillies, the Phillies send Chase Anderson to the mound. He has yet to pick up a win. He is 0-3 on the season with a 6.48 ERA. This is what I would be. I would be worried right now. Chase Anderson has been a train wreck for the Phillies. Every time he gets a start, he does not do well, and the Phillies lose. But I'm not going to think about that right now. The Saturday matchup between the Phillies and between the Mets and the Phillies. Tajon Walker gets the start for the Mets. He has a 1-1 record with a 2.14 ERA, 23 Ks on this season. And the Phillies will be sending Zach Wheeler to the mound. A 2-2 record with a 3.13 ERA and 35 strikeouts. This is the one I'm looking forward to. This is the one I'm actually looking forward to. And the Sunday matchup, and this is the Sunday night game on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball. The New York Mets will send David Peterson to the mound. If I were the Mets, I would be worried. He has a 1-3 record with a 5.59 ERA, but he does have 29 strikeouts on the season. And the Philadelphia Phillies are sending Zach Eflin to the mound. A 1-1 record with a 3.58 ERA and 27 Ks on this season. So, if you have any stock in the Mets and they get swept, you might want to think about this. There's a lot to digest, I grant you. But this is a fun matchup. But the Mets hitting, there's only 2 real power sluggers that the Mets have right now. Brandon Nimmo, he has a 254 batting average, a 467 OBP, 20 hits. He only has 1 home run and 8 RBIs on the season. That would worry me a little bit. Pete Alonso, he has a 250 batting average, 5 home runs, 12 RBIs. It doesn't sound like a lot, but that's the only real Mets bats that the Mets have right now. JD Davis is playing. He's hitting pretty well. He's hitting 371. Some of you guys have been asking me, what about Francisco Lindor? Right now, Lindor is struggling. He's only hitting 203, and that is not good. When the Mets took him from the Indians, everybody's thinking, oh, Lindor is going to be the savior. He hasn't shown up yet, but right now we're going into May, so there's a lot to think about there. We'll see how everything goes from there. And for the Philadelphia Phillies, they got some power hitting. Bryce Harper, he's hitting .321, 6 home runs, 10 RBIs, 25 hits, an OBP of .445, and on top, and that .445 OBP. JT Permodo, a .329 batting average, 2 home runs, 11 RBIs on this season. Royce Hoskins, look out for him. He's hitting .238, 5 home runs, 14 RBIs. And Didi Gregorius, the former Yankee, or should I say, Sir Didi, he's hitting .250 right now, 2 home runs, 14 RBIs. So the Phillies have the bigger bats. And the Mets have the pitching, but the Phillies have the bats. This is going to be an interesting 3-game set between these two teams. And I'm going to tell you right now, with the National League East so tight, and with the Washington Nationals dead last into the division, they're only 1 game back. So this is a big, big weekend. And we'll see what happens coming out of it. But the bottom line is this. 3 huge series. I know they're all National League. I grant you. However, at the end of the day, we'll see how everything goes from there. All right. Let's move on. We've got one big game in the NBA tonight. The Utah Jazz face the Phoenix Suns. 1-2 in the conference. Both teams have clinched playoff spots. They're both in the playoffs. The Phoenix Suns, for the first time in 11 years, they're going to the playoffs for the first time in 11 years. But tonight, the Jazz face the Suns in a big matchup. And let's think about this for a minute. I love this matchup for a lot of reasons. Donovan Mitchell versus Devin Booker. For the Jazz, Donovan Mitchell averages 26.4 points per game. Devin Booker, 25.4 points per game. You notice how close they are? That's a real big reason. But there's 2 other big players for the Jazz too. Rudy Gobert, he averages a double-double per game. 14.4 points per game and 13.4 rebounds per game. And he does average 2.8 assists blocks per game too. Mike Conley, real big name in support for the Jazz. 16.4 points per game, 6 assists, and 1.4 steals per game. That is huge. This matchup tonight, I grant you it's a West Coast battle. It's the 2 best teams in the West. But for the Phoenix Suns, you've heard about Devin Booker, 25.4 points per game. But he has real good support too. DeAndre Ayton, he averages a double-double per game. 14.8 points per game and 10.7 rebounds per game and 1.1 blocks per game. He knows how to block a shot when need be. Chris Paul, the former Clipper, a 16.2 points per game, 8.7 rebounds per game, and he can be a stealer with 1.4 steals per game. There's a lot to think about there too. This is a huge West Coast matchup. This is a big deal. Everybody knows it. The Western Conference has been decided. The Western Conference, these 2 teams are the top 2. They're both in the playoffs. This is for playoff seeding. And this is where it's going to get very, very interesting. Going down the stretch. We'll see how everything looks as far as the game goes. Now, the NBA playoff picture is getting more and more interesting by the second. And let's think about this tonight. We got some big matchups. I think everybody realizes there's a lot on the line. And the bottom line is this. It's going to be interesting to see how this goes. The NBA East playoff picture is starting to slowly come together. The Brooklyn Nets and the Philadelphia 76ers, they're 1-2 in the conference. They're in the playoffs. They're in no matter what happens. But the 76ers have a huge matchup tonight against the Atlanta Hawks. And the Atlanta Hawks right now, if the playoffs were to start today or tomorrow, the Atlanta Hawks would be a 5 seed. Let's think about that. The Boston Celtics face the San Antonio Spurs tonight. The Celtics are the 6th seed. They're just ahead of Miami due to head-to-head matchups. The Celtics need a win tonight to stay out of that 7-10 zone. And I'll address that here in a minute. Now, the Washington Wizards play the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Wizards are a 10 seed. They would have to play in the play-in tournament just to get in. And I'll address that here in a moment. The Milwaukee Bucks face the Chicago Bulls tonight. The Milwaukee Bucks are the 3 seed. If the playoffs were to start tomorrow, Milwaukee would be a 3 seed. The Bulls would be going home. In the NBA East Conference, Brooklyn and Philadelphia are the top 2 teams. The Milwaukee Bucks are the 3 seed. The 4 seed would be the New York Knicks. And the Knicks, I can't believe they're almost 8 games above 500 for the first time in forever. The Atlanta Hawks would be a 5 seed. And the Boston Celtics would be the 6 seed. The 7 to 10 zone, and I'm going to address that right now. The way it would work out, the Miami Heat would face the Washington Wizards, and then the Charlotte Hornets would face the Indiana Pacers. And then it would be like a round-robin type deal. As it stands right now, the 7 to 10 teams are Miami, Charlotte, Indiana, actually the Miami Heat, the Charlotte Hornets, the Indiana Pacers, and the Washington Wizards. Those are your 7 to 10 teams in the NBA Eastern Conference. And let's think about that. In the NBA Western Conference, the Utah Jazz, the Phoenix Suns, I already talked about that matchup. They're both in the playoffs. As it stands right now, the 3 seed would be the LA Clippers. The 4 seed, the Denver Nuggets. The 5 seed would be the Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers have had some struggles. And the Lakers face the Sacramento Kings. They're out. The 6th seed would be the Dallas Mavericks. They're trying to stay out of that 7 to 10 zone. And as it stands right now, the 7 to 10 zone teams would be Portland would be the 7th seed, Memphis would be the 8th seed, the San Antonio Spurs, they got a matchup against the Boston Celtics tonight. And the 10th seed in the NBA West would be the Golden State Warriors. Golden State still has an outside chance of getting into the playoffs, despite everything that has happened. 2 teams have already clinched. We got a week to go in the NBA regular season. And then the playoffs start. It's going to get real interesting, real fast. And I think everybody realizes it too. Let's think about that. Now, hey, and that's also too, if you have any comments coming, keep your comments coming. I want to hear from you. I want to know if you're tuning in. Keep your comments coming. I am live here on the air. I'll take any comments, good or bad. If you want to criticize me, fine. I have no problem with that. But let me know if you're tuning in today. Now, let's switch gears and talk some NASCAR. Brad Keselowski is on the pole for the Cup race in Kansas this coming Sunday. That's a 2 o'clock race on Fox. Last Sunday at Talladega, Brad Keselowski became the 9th different winner in 10 races in the Cup season. The only repeat winner we've had so far is Martin Truex Jr. Now, here's the thing. Kansas is a lot different than Talladega. It's going to be a very fun race to watch. And the truth is this. After Kansas, we hit the month of May. And a lot of things can happen between now and then. Last Sunday at Talladega, we watched Matt DiBenedetto come within just a lap of scoring his first Cup win. But at the end of the day, he just about gave it away. Last Sunday, Keselowski came home the winner. William Byron second. Michael McDowell, the Daytona 500 champion, came home third. McDowell loves those fast racetracks. He loves Daytona and Talladega. They always produce some exciting finishes. Well, at least this time, Roger Penske can say, what about when the Penske employees asked Mr. Penske about the Talladega bonuses, he said, you guys will be getting those this time. This is making up for the Daytona 500. Because a lot of people ask Mr. Penske, where's our Daytona 500 bonus? And he said, it was thrown away in a crumble of sheet metal and a blaze of gold and in a ball of fire. And that's the truth. I'm not lying about that. Now, let's talk about the NTT IndyCar Series. The Indy cars are going to Texas for a Texas two-step. Last Sunday at St. Petersburg, Colton Herta came home the winner for his fourth career win, and he won a big race there. Now we hit the Texas two-step. The Genesis 300 will be 7 o'clock Saturday night on the NBC Sports Network, and with the Expel 375 at 5 o'clock on Sunday. Both races are on the NBC Sports Network, like I said. The Indy cars at Texas, oh, I love that race. 1.5 miles, 220 miles an hour. They're not afraid to test the limit. And you notice we're going right into the month of May. On May 15th, I'm going to jump ahead. On May 15th, we have the Indy cars on the road course, on the Indianapolis Motor Speedway road circuit. That's going to be interesting. What I love about the Indy road circuit is you go right down the main straightaway. Turn 13 on the road course is turn 1 on the oval. And then turn 1 on the road circuit's actually headed for turn 4 right in front of the oval, just right before you hit the pagoda. Here's the deal. The IMS IndyCar road race at Indianapolis is going to be fun. And then after that, it's the 105th running of the greatest spectacle in racing, the Indianapolis 500, on Memorial Day weekend, Sunday, May 30th, 2015. We will have the biggest race of them all, the Indianapolis 500. And that's going to be fun to watch. And that is the truth of the matter. Now there's your weekend kickoff right there. But I got a couple of other things I want to talk about. Did any of you guys watch the NFL draft last night? I know I did. Former Clemson quarterback Trevor Lawrence went 1 in the draft. He's going to the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's going to have Urban Meyer there as head coach. Clemson, Ohio State, that's going to be interesting. It was a foregone conclusion. Lawrence was going to go 1 in the draft. But the one thing that really surprised me about last night's draft was the New York Jets drafted BYU quarterback Zach Wilson. Now you're thinking, huh? Well, let's think about this for a minute. Zach Wilson's not a bad quarterback. In 2020, in the shortened season, he had 33 touchdowns, 3,692 yards passing, and a QBR of 196.4. I think that's why the Jets went with him. That's something to think about. And a lot of Ohio State Nation and a lot of people were asking, what about Justin Fields? A lot of people were saying Fields was going to go 9th in the draft. Well, he didn't. He actually went 11th in the draft, and he's going to the Chicago Bears. That's going to be interesting to watch. In 2020, Justin Fields had 2,100 yards passing, 22 touchdowns, and a QBR rating of 175.6. And the Chicago Bears had to trade up to get him. Now the question is, how will Justin Fields do in Chicago? That is going to be something to think about. But I was looking at some of these teams last night, and he was the only Ohio State player that went in the first round. Which I was kind of surprised me a little bit. But it was a great first round last night. What will happen today? And we'll find out later today. We'll find out tonight because the draft resumes tonight at 8 o'clock. And the other thing I want to talk, and this is an NFL story, you're going to be kind of shocked by this one. Aaron Rodgers has told the Green Bay Packers he does not want to return to the Packers organization. There was a report that the team wanted to trade him during the season last year. Rodgers told some members of the Packers organization he did not want to return, which kind of surprised me a little bit. Packers general manager Brian Gutekunst has already said Aaron Rodgers is our quarterback for the foreseeable future. Well, I'm not so sure about that now, which kind of surprised me a little bit. And on top of that, there are reports, and this is according to ESPN's Trey Wingo, there are reports that 3 teams have reached out to Aaron Rodgers to be their starting QB. And those 3 teams are the San Francisco 49ers, the Denver Broncos, and the Las Vegas Raiders. There is actually reports out on that. That's the truth of the matter. I'm not making this up. And a lot of people have asked me, do you think you know, I find it kind of strange. A lot of people have said, we find it kind of strange that he's doing this because some people have said he wants to host Jeopardy. Now, he did guest host Jeopardy during just a few months ago. That's something to think about. But that's just the truth of the matter. Now, in my honest opinion, the timing of this is kind of crazy. The three-time NFL MVP has already shown me that he can get the job done. Who will take him if the Packers don't want him? We'll have to wait and see on that. And that's the truth. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for my closing thoughts on this night, or on this day. The other day when I was watching the St. Louis Cardinals face the Philadelphia Phillies, I noticed the St. Louis Cardinals relief pitcher drilled two Phillies. One of those Phillies was Bryce Harper. Harper got drilled almost right in the face. And the Cardinals pitcher felt bad about it. Phillies manager Joe Girardi came out of the dugout. He came out and basically gave the umpires grief. The question is, with COVID now leaving and fans coming back, when will we see a real bench clearing brawl? We have not seen a real brawl since the Pirates and the Reds back in 2019. And I know Commissioner Rob Manfred say we should show good sportsmanship. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, with the way this summer's going, with us going into the summertime, I would not be surprised if we have real fireworks when the temperatures warm up. And I'll tell you now, so far in the 2021 baseball season, it's been crazy. I mean, I made my predictions earlier in the year. Some of them are fanning out, some are not. I picked the Yankees to win the AL East. They're almost next to last in the division. The NL Central, I had picked the Chicago White Sox. Right now, the Kansas City Royals have the best record in baseball. And in the American League West, back when the season started and the Oakland A's went 0-6, I was thinking, I might as well write them off. They've come out of nowhere. I mean, they went on a 12-13 in a row hot streak. And now they're in first place in the American League West. In the National League East, I had picked the New York Mets. The Mets are a part of an all-five team NL East division battle at the moment. In the NL Central, I had picked the St. Louis Cardinals. They're only 2 games back of the Milwaukee Brewers. If the Cardinals can sweep the Pirates, and if the Dodgers can manage to take 3 out of 4 or get a split against the Brewers, it can mean a lot. And in the National League West, I had picked the LA Dodgers, but look out for the San Diego Padres. I've been dead wrong. Right now, somebody must have forgot to tell that to the San Francisco Giants, because right now, the Giants are leading the division by a half game. And with a huge series coming up against San Diego this weekend. That's been basically how this baseball season has gone. It's been anything but crazy so far. And there's been times I've just wanted to say, oh, brother, I can't believe what I'm seeing. We're going into May. And the weather's going to get better. The temperatures are going to get warmer. The tempers are going to start really start flaring. And we're going to have fireworks that would make the 4th of July look like a backyard picnic. That's where I'm going with this. That's my prediction. We're going to have real fireworks this year. Last year was only a 60-game sprint. This time around, it's a full season. Anything can happen. And that's the fact of the matter. And that's the bottom line. And that's all I have to say on this day. Okay, folks, I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here. I want to thank you guys so much for being with me here on this day. I will be back here at 11:30 on Sunday night for the weekend wrap-up show. I'll have a lot to talk about then. I will be back here next Friday at 12 noon for another edition of Scott Manning YouTube Sports Talk Kickoff Weekend. I want to thank you guys so much for being with me here on this day. You guys have a great day. Thank you so much for being with me. And one other thing. If you happen to see this show, please click subscribe on my YouTube page. My name is Scott Manning. All you have to do is type my name, scroll down, look for this pretty face, and you will see the show and the other shows I have done so far. Thank you guys so much for being with me, and God bless. Goodbye, everybody, and I thank you.